Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Beta and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel, I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to get out of debt and simplify our financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Everyone, well, happy bonus content Wednesday. I'm very excited to be filming another budget with me. Insane to me that it is December. We've got a festive mani going on. One of my favorite coffee mugs over here. This was from Starbucks a couple of years ago. Actually, there's a fun story about this one. So I had this mug and loved it, and I think like the handle broke or something. And so then I went and found it on eBay and paid way more for it than was necessary. But I mean, you guys know me and my mug obsession. And anyway, even though it's technically not a Christmas mug, I only pull it out at Christmas time because it just feels like Christmas to me, I think, because it's red. Anyways, that's why I went with the red mani as well. You guys oftentimes will ask me actually about the color of my nail polish, so I'll just tell you now to get out ahead of the comments and questions. This nail polish is from a brand called Lights Lacquer, which is actually the brand of a beauty YouTuber who I have been following for years and years and years. Her name is Kathleen Lights. Go check out her channel if you get a chance. She's really fantastic. I always found her to be like one of my favorites in the beauty community. Anyway, quite a few years ago, she released her own nail polish brand, and it is spectacular. This is not just like some brand that was just thrown together and a YouTuber just like slapped their name on it. She really puts out a quality nail polish, and they're like 12 free, so they don't have much of the toxic chemicals and things that a lot of nail polish brands have. And this particular color is called Ace, and it just is such a like Christmassy red to me. So I'll go ahead and link it below so that you guys can check it out if you're interested, but it's not why we're here. Today is the December budget with me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop right into my budget planner here. This is available in my Etsy shop, which is linked below always. And we're gonna go into December. Crazy, absolutely insane. So I'm just gonna pull out my budget overview. This is part of my monthly budget that you can purchase as a printable option. And then also I have an annual digital budget planner as well that's for use, my goodness, I'm struggling with English today, for use in notes apps and on a tablet. But I know that a lot of you are paper people like me. And so I do have a version that you can purchase kind of in different pieces for your own personal, like you can put it together however you like. And this is part of that one. And so this is, like I mentioned, my Etsy shop is always linked below. So I'm going to just go ahead and pull, actually, I really like to stack my papers when I'm writing on something. This is completely superfluous. I might even cut this out, or edit this portion out, but I like to like stack a couple of papers when I'm writing. You guys will have to tell me if you're the same way. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and push this off to the side, zoom you guys right in. Oh my gosh, I cannot get myself straight today. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in, and then we will just get into the budgeting. Alrighty, we are all zoomed in here and ready to go. I am a paper slanter. I hope that's okay with most of you. And I'm just gonna kind of go over with you guys just briefly kind of how this works. If you guys are new to zero-based budgeting, if this is your first time ever watching a video like this or my channel, this is what we do. So we choose to do a monthly budget overview. There are lots of people in this community who do a budget by paycheck specifically. So they will just budget from each and every paycheck that they have. My husband and I don't do it that way. We choose to just kind of map out what we look like on a month-to-month basis because my husband is a salaried employee, and so the pay is consistent every time with him. And even though I earn money hourly, I have a pretty decent idea of what my paycheck will look like because I have a pretty consistent schedule. So I budget from the bottom rung, so to speak, of what my expectation is for my pay. And then if there's any overage, we just let that accumulate. And then at the end of the month, we decide what to do with that overage when that happens. If there's ever an underage, or I can't even think of the English word that I would use. English is my only language. I'm making this sound like English is like my second language. If there's ever deficit, we decide, kind of how we're going to handle that as well. But I'm pretty good about budgeting from the lowest expectation so that we don't run into an issue like that. And so that's kind of how we do that. And so we add up what we're going to expect for the month. And then what we do is we plan out a purpose for every single dollar that we bring in. So we do that in the form, obviously, of tracking our bills and expenses first. Obviously, those are the highest priority things that you have to take care of. And then sinking funds are basically just funds, or it's a category of your budget that doesn't, that was my oven, sorry. It's a category of your budget that doesn't require payment every single month, but it's definitely something that you pull from throughout the year, or maybe you do pull from it every single month, but not in the totality of what you budget for it. So we'll kind of get into that. You'll see how I do that as we go along. And then at the end of this, every dollar is accounted for. Every dollar has been given a job for that month. And then that's your budget. So I will just get right into this now, and you'll kind of see how we go along the way. So the first up, we always, because my husband earns a salary and he is not hourly, I just put the total of what we expect to get from him for the entire month. And that is $7,686.90. And then since I earn an hourly wage, I separate out my different paychecks. So I am paid semi-monthly, which means that I'm only paid twice a month, regardless of what the weeks look like. So I'm paid on the 5th of every month and the 20th of every month. And I do separate out what we expect to make from each of those paychecks. And the reason for that is so that we can know from paycheck to paycheck if we have overage or a deficit, how much that is based on what we budgeted, and then we can kind of figure out what to do from there. So my first expected pay is going to be around $880, and my I put one, and then my second expected pay is going to be around $1,100. And so let me grab my calculator here. So 7,686.90 plus 880 plus 1,100. We are expecting to bring in, that's a scary number, $9,666.90 this month. And so that's what we are working with. And so that is the basis of all of this. That's where, we just subtract everything from there. So first up, obviously, the bills and expenses. I've heard people refer to this as the 4 walls. So the things that you need in order to just live your life, basically. So we always start off with mortgage, and our mortgage doesn't really fluctuate, obviously. It's $2,475.88. We do budget down to the penny, just because whatever change is left over by the time we get to our debt goes to our debt, because every cent matters. Next up is our water bill. And this is one that does fluctuate from month to month. And so we give it a consistent $110 so that if we ever are very user heavy with water one month, we are kind of covered on the months where we don't max out what we've budgeted for it. And that's just a really kind of good way of going about planning for bills and expenses, because it will eventually get you to a point where you're maybe a month ahead or whatever. I think we're about a month and a half ahead in our water bill right now, which is a good thing, because we use it more in the summer than we do in the fall and winter. So we just kind of want to account for those times. Next up is life insurance. And this never changes. It is $42.06 every month. Car insurance. Also, well, this one actually kind of fluctuates here and there. So I budgeted $130 this month because somebody got a ticket in the month of November. And so we're just going to be putting a little bit extra toward car insurance for the foreseeable future, because I'm imagining that this is going to increase my insurance costs. So, sigh. Next up, my husband and son both train jujitsu. And so the expense for that every single month is $187.38. Not much more to add there. Our internet costs $55.58 every single month. That one is one that also does not change. Our phone bill has been like weirdly fluctuating, and so I just decided to put $115 at it this month to kind of maybe help cover that a little bit, because even if we just have like a tiny little buffer in our bank account for our phone bill every month, it's not that big of a deal, because we keep our bills and expenses in our checking account. We cash pool for sinking funds, but our bills and expenses we keep in there and kind of use those as like a buffer throughout the month for any spending that we do that's on our debit card. Our electric bill is up next, and we put $200 a month at it for the months, to cover the months where we're using either heat or air conditioning. And that is that. Groceries. This one we gave a little bump this month because Christmas, obviously, but also my in-laws are coming into town for Christmas. And so I wanted to just make sure that we had extra grocery money in the budget so that when they're here and I'm feeding more people than usual, we've got the money to cover that. And so we are doing $1,800 this month instead of our usual $1,700. Gas, this is just the gasoline expense for our car. We budget $150 a month for that one. This is one that I never cash pull because I use the cashback app called Upside. If you guys have never heard of that, basically you can just use the app to search for like gas stations in your area that will give you a certain percentage in cash back for your gasoline purchase. This is one that I don't really talk about that often on my channel just because I don't cash stuff for gas, but I love this app. It really is beneficial. It really does give you a lot of some decent cash back actually when you use it for your gas purchases. And I think there are like restaurants and stuff in there too. Like I saw Starbucks in there the other day. You'll get cash back for a Starbucks purchase. So anyways, go ahead and if you're interested in it, you can just check out my link below. If you use my referral code, I will get, I think I get cash back if you use my referral code, and then you'll get like a bonus amount of money off of your first gas purchase. So it's mutually beneficial, but if you're not comfortable like using my referral code, just sign up for it yourself. It's really good. We love it. So anyways, next up is household. And household, you'll recall, we had a little bit of a deficit going into the month of December in our household envelope. Goodness gracious. This is one that we do cash stuff for, actually. And so what I'm doing is I am budgeting over the normal amount that we usually do. So I'm budgeting 85, but I'm actually only going to cash stuff 75 to cover the deficit that we had in household from last month. We don't like to make this a common practice, but if it happens every now and then, this is kind of how we handle that. So we have to eat away at more of our budget in order to compensate for the deficit. So that's how we work that out. And if you have any questions about it, just let me know down below. If that was confusing, I can try to help clear up any confusion that way. Next up is toiletries. And this one is getting $75 this month. All of our subscriptions we have lumped into I can't talk and spell at the same time, apparently. We've lumped into one category, so it's $64.75 for like our Netflix, our HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Apple Music, that kind of stuff. So it all falls under that category. Pest control is something that is actually paid for quarterly, but we treat it like a sinking fund. And so we put $40 a month at it. Taxes helps to pay the person who prepares our taxes for us every spring. And so that one is $30. And then next up is our HOA. That one is due January 1st. And so we haven't been cash stuffing for this one all year. Once we pay it, then finally we'll be on like a year cycle. And so this month it has to get a little bit more than it usually would. It's getting $40, and that's gonna help us at least have the amount that we need to pay the bill in January. And then I don't remember what it is. I think it's like somewhere around $200. And so then finally in January, we'll just divide throughout the entire year. So the 12 months, $200 divided by 12 months. And that's what it will start getting from us going forward. But we had to bulk this one up just to meet the bill amount due for January. Finance coach is up next. Oh, goodness. Okay, all of a sudden, there we go. My pen was like, Mom, not gonna work. This is a guy who we pay an annual fee to. He has like a subscription service, kind of. It's like how I would phrase that. He basically just kind of watches the stock market and makes recommendations for where to move your retirement funds. And so we have been paying for this service for, I don't even know, probably like 3 or 4 years at this point. And it's a $60 annual fee. And so we just put $5 a month at it. Next up, this definitely does not fall under bills and expenses, but we have so many sinking funds that I don't have space for them over here. And so I put our zoo membership over here, and our, I forgot one. Well, I'll just hit zoo first. So our zoo membership is due in February, and it's also around like $190, $200, something like that. And so we pay $16 a month for it. The other one that I just forgot was union dues. And this is just for my husband's job. And it's $15 a month. And then last up in this category is our pool membership. Again, not a bill or an expense. What is up with my pen? Not a bill or an expense, but I don't have space for it over here. And the pool membership is something obviously that we only benefit from in the summertime, and it's very expensive in my personal view. But somebody in my comments once said it's still not as expensive as having a pool, so fair enough. And so it costs us $32 a month because the pool membership is $375, and that is due by June 1st. Like I have to get in and pay for it before June 1st. All right. So what I'm going to do is just zoom you guys through adding all of this up so that we know what our total is for this this first section. And then we will move on to sinking funds. So here we go. All right. So our total for this first section of bills and expenses is $5,668.65. $5,668.65. And so then from here, And I have this conversation every time, so I'm so sorry if you've watched my channel for basically this entire year and you're sick of hearing this explanation, but I think the like hardcore, like to the T Dave Ramsey method then recommends that everything else goes to debt. My husband and I have been on a like aggressive debt payoff train this entire year. And I mean, we are aggressively paying it down, but we are doing Dave Ramsey-ish. So we are still doing some obviously like completely unnecessary and superfluous sinking fund spending. But we just kind of wanted to make sure that after we were done paying down our debt, we already had established a decent budget and a thorough understanding for how we wanted to handle our money moving forward. And so while we are paying a ton of money at debt, we are also just kind of living our lives almost as comfortably as we were before. Definitely with some cutbacks in spending and just expenses in general here and there, but we are not as aggressively paying down our debt as I'm sure he would recommend, but we are comfortable with the situation as it stands. And so because of that, we go over before we decide what we're going to put at debt every month. And I've mentioned this before, we do have a baseline of a goal for what we want to put toward debt every month, but we play with numbers here before we throw money at debt. And so to that end, first up, we put money aside every month for car expenses. So this covers our car registration, our annual car registration fee, but then also just like any car issues that may come up, or if somebody happens to get a speeding ticket, and you pull a little bit from that too. And so we budget $57 a month for this one. Home maintenance is up next. We're actually giving this one a little bit more this month than we usually do. We usually budget about $50 for it, but we're doing $100 this month because there were certain funds that we just felt like moving into the new year, we wanted to just pad up just a little bit more than we had been, and this was one of them. And you'll actually see with our Christmas bonus cash stuffing, which is actually not coming for 2 more weeks. Yeah, that one's going to be, I think it's December 13th. I think that's what it is. We padded this one up a little bit more with that one as well. Next up is medical. We did the same thing. We just wanted to add a little bit more to this one because it's been getting spent from more frequently. And so we just wanted to just really throw some extra cash at it. And so we did $100 for this as well. And then same with clothes. You guys know we have really been trying to buffer this one up because my husband needs some and my kids pulled from it in a way that we were not expecting. And so I put $100 at it this month as well. Haircuts is up next. We felt pretty confident in the way that we had thrown some money at this one. And so this month we're putting a little bit less. We're putting $50. This covers haircuts for my husband and my kids. Next up is personal spending. So this is my husband's spending. He gets $50, and my personal spending, and I get, oh, I said his twice. Look at me. The man has enough money. He certainly doesn't need me to add more to him. I get $175. And if you are new to my channel, this is because this is just my husband's personal spending money. This is my personal spending money plus any like beauty treatment kind of stuff that I want. So, like my haircut is also wrapped up into this. And, if I decide that I want to like treat myself to like a manicure or a wax or something, like that gets pulled from this as well. And if you think that's imbalanced, I mean, it probably is a little bit, but then also my husband does jujitsu and I don't. So it's like, it all evens out, you know? Plus I'm a girl. We just spend more, you know? Next up is our dine out category. And this is one that we don't really put a lot of money toward frequently, but this month we are putting 75 at it, again, just because of the season, and we've got family coming into town, and we just want to kind of pad it a little bit in case we decide we want to pull from it throughout the month. Work food is up next, and we have not really been spending from this one much, and so we decided to just give it 15 this month, just so we had a little something there, but not necessary for like an entire meal. Dates, we are very satisfied with where it sits right now, and so we're giving it $50 just because we want to always just be adding to it, but it's not like we're trying to bulk it up so that we can go on our date. We already have enough money to go on our date. For those I'm sorry, I'm saying this like you're not new to my channel. Just in case you are new to my channel, my husband and I go on a date every time we pay off a debt. So we started the year with 4 debts. We are down to 2. And we are going out on a date to celebrate the payoff of our car. That happened, I think, at the end of Q3. I'll go ahead and link the debt confession update for you guys here so that you can watch that. And so we're going to be going on a date this month, actually, to celebrate that. And so we already have enough money in that envelope to do our date and pay for the babysitter and all that kind of stuff. But, moving forward, we just want to make sure we're still adding to it so that we can go on more dates, because we are paying this debt off in 2024. It is happening. Anyways, next up is home decor, and it is getting $50 this month. And that is because I love a Christmas candle. I think I'm done buying Christmas mugs. I'm just going to take a little sip of my coffee here because it's just sitting there staring at me, and it's so yummy. There we go. Oop. And just, 'tis the season. What if I see a pretty decorative something or other that I want, and I want to make sure that I have a little bit of money in there to facilitate that purchase. Next up is family fun. This just kind of covers any little fun family things that we do together. And again, because of the season and family coming into town, we're giving it $75 this month. And next up is house project. And this is a category of our budget that is completely unnecessary, but definitely fun. There are little things throughout the house that my husband and I have goals to either do or update or whatever. And so with this fund, we were able to, we had to pay an inspector to come and inspect our house. I'm trying to think, before our 1-year warranty was up with our builder. So this funded that. We put ceiling fans in this year in my husband's office, which will actually soon be just our office, and my kids' bedrooms. And then we put gutters on the house. We saved up for those with this. And we were saving up for screen doors for our front and back doors, but we paused that because, like I mentioned, it's about to become our office. My husband's office needs to actually function for both of us because I need a legitimate setup for my Etsy shop. It needs to function for both of us. And so we're going to redo it here soon. And so that's what we're saving for now for our house project. And so it gets $300 from our budget. And then next up is gifts. This is just like birthday presents or housewarming presents or wedding gifts or any gift that you can think of that you would spend money on throughout the year for a variety of different events. And we're giving it $50 this month. We've been kind of beefing this one up just because we felt like it's been a little lackluster, and that's the beauty of a budget. And when you're planning out every dollar, you can kind of make the money fluctuate from month to month. And so that's what we are doing here. Party is a little fund that we use to just pay for birthday parties and host events, like little, get-togethers at our house and that kind of stuff. And so it gets $45 a month from us. We used to do $35, but I just didn't feel like that was enough. And so I bumped it up to $45, and hopefully that works out. Back to school is up next. I really should just call it school, because this doesn't just fund like school supplies. This also funds things that we have to pay for throughout the year, like school dances or pictures or et cetera, et cetera. Anything that's school related that we're spending money on comes from this category, and we're putting $30 at it this month. Next up, we have our little holidays. So Valentine's Day gets $5. Easter gets $7. Halloween gets $12. Thanksgiving, I'm just gonna put thanks, gets $15. And then actually for the first stuffing of next Christmas, Christmas 2024, we're going to be putting $275. So this year our goal was to have $3,000 for Christmas. And while that is certainly more than enough money to budget for Christmas, it's for gifts for obviously all of us and our immediate household here, but then also friends and family, just the different people that we gift to, Christmas cards, all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to see if we could finagle $275 a month. We needed $250 in order to have $3,000 for next Christmas, but I wanted to see what $275 looked like. So I'm just going to play with that for a little while. We'll see how that works out. And then I'm actually realizing, so that's the end of this section up here. I'm going to go ahead and add this up, except for I changed the sheet. So whenever I printed this one out, I must have done it off of an old design of mine, because I actually now have a savings section that's down here, and that's the one that's in my shop. So I'm just going to write the total here. So I'll just put total. I'll put the total here once I add all of this up and then move down to this little savings section. So once again, I will be zooming you guys through this, because you don't want to sit here and watch me add for however long it takes. So let's just get into it. All right, so the total for this section here is $1,636. So I'll go ahead and write that here, $1,636. And then actually down here, I'll just put savings, because what we have started doing actually is we opened up, oh, can you guys see? Yes, we opened up these little like investment accounts for our kids. And so we give them $25 a month. You'd be surprised how quickly that actually adds up. We just started this not that long ago, and I think it's got like just over $300 in it. Obviously it fluctuates because of the stock market, because that's what it is. It's an investment account. But I don't put their names out here yet. My husband and I go back and forth on our level of anonymity here. Believe me, this is a conversation that we actually have on a semi-regular basis, because I know like a lot of people want to see our faces, or they want to know like, you know, his name and my kids' names and things like that. But for the time being, we just call them boy and girl here on the channel. And we give them each $25 a month. And the total for that is super easy to figure out, $50. And so this has been like a fun little thing to be able to do for them. And we're definitely going to be doing this moving forward. We'll probably add a little bit more to it as as our income is freed up from debt. But speaking of debt, so right now we are throwing all of our extra money. We have two debt. I mentioned this earlier in the channel, or in this video rather, sorry. We are down to two debts. And so we have our Visa card left, and then a 401k loan that we were paying back. That one we don't have to worry about, because that money just automatically is deducted from my husband's paycheck every single month. So it's not something that we even have to think about. And even though the interest on that one, or the balance, maybe our balance, I actually don't know. Maybe our balance is lower on our Visa at this point. Either way, because the interest is so high on the Visa, we're throwing all of our extra money at that one right now. And so that's the debt that we're like visibly paying, that you guys can see, like that's part of this budget with me. Like I mentioned, the other one's just automatically deducted from my husband's paycheck, so we don't even have a choice on that one. And so here we go. So whatever remains from all of this is what's going to go up on our Visa. So we started with $9,666.90. When we subtract our bills and expenses, $5,668.65, we are left with $3,998.25. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract our sinking funds from that. So 1,636. And then down here, we're subtracting the $50 in our kids' investing accounts. And so that leaves us with a remainder of $2,312.25. And so our goal every single month is to be paying at least $2,300 to this one. Any little wiggle room that we have left over obviously goes up there. I mean, I'm sure I could put the $12 to use down here somewhere, but I don't get pressed about that kind of stuff. I would rather the $12 went toward debt rather than sitting here and like nickel and diming these sinking funds. The $12 doesn't matter to me as much down here as it does up here. We are really trying to pay this debt off. I don't even know if I've told you that our goal is to have our debt paid off by in 2024. So, and if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that we started off the year with nearly $60,000 of debt. At the end of this month is going to be our Q4 update. So we are very excited about that so that you guys can kind of know how much progress we've made since Q3. But yeah, we like to throw a lot of cash at that because we are we have big goals and we are really trying to get this debt out of our lives. It is an albatross around our neck. So anyways, I'm going to zoom you guys back out and finish up this video that way. Alrighty, you guys. Well, that is it for today's video. This is what a zero-based budget looks like. This is what it looks like when you give every dollar, or in our case, every cent, a purpose, because those 25 cents, I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it all adds up, you know? I cannot stress this enough, and I think it's never more appropriate than in an actual Budget With Me video. This is hands down the most life-changing budgeting system ever. My husband and I have tried a variety of things throughout the years. Definitely a lack of discipline was a crucial factor in the fact that nothing has stuck, but also just doing it this way and like sinking funds revolutionized the way that we look at our money, because it's like rather than living paycheck to paycheck, we have a plan for everything. And it is the most freeing, comforting budgeting that we have ever done. So if you guys are on the fence about it, or you want to know more, ask me questions. I am always happy to answer questions and facilitate just you acquiring more knowledge and having your own financial freedom. It is definitely it has been the best year for us financially ever. And we are in our late 30s. Actually, my husband is 40, but you know, for us to have finally gotten our act together feels wonderful. So cannot recommend this enough. If you did enjoy today's video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. I really enjoy being with you guys in the comments. Hanging out with you in this community is so fun. My husband's just making lots of noise in the background like I'm not out here filming a video. Now he's doing it on purpose. So fun. You had to know he was going to show up at some point. Anyways, just really quickly, I know that I mentioned like this was going to be a content heavy couple of weeks. That is the case. But I decided to spread things out a little bit more. So on Friday, you guys are going to just be right back here with my weekly check-in as per usual. And then I am uploading my bill condensing on Saturday. And when I do the bill condensing, it's going to seem a little bit confusing to you guys watching it, because I actually did 2 cash stuffings. Like I filmed them within like a couple days of each other, and you're not watching those for the next couple of weeks. So like next Wednesday is my Etsy and YouTube stuffing from November. And then the Wednesday after that is our Christmas bonus cash stuffing. I did both of those cash stuffings before even this video. And so it was just the way that I wanted to map out the content. I didn't want to like inundate you guys with videos in like the span of like a short amount of time. I just felt like that was too much probably. I mean, I don't know, you guys you could disagree with me, but that's just kind of how I decided to map out the content here. So when you see the bow condensing on Saturday, it's going to include money that you have not seen me stuff yet, but just know that that's coming. So just a little housekeeping stuff. And anyways, goodness. So yeah, that's what's going to be going on for the next couple of weeks. Just wanted to make you guys aware of that. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, now's a great time because there's just all kinds of stuff coming. So obviously, and then I will see you guys on Friday with my weekly check-in. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and your week, and I will see you then. Bye, everyone.